video, we're going to start talking about lists in Python, and we're just going to see what are the different rules and functions and such to play with lists. So in this video, we're just getting used to a list is a bunch of things with one name, so it's just list like we use in English. So just to get started, I could have some numbers here, some numbers that are good. Alright, so those are some numbers, and that's getting us started. Numbers there is a list. If I just type numbers here, there it is. If I was in a program and I printed numbers, there it is. So it's one variable, one name, and I have multiple numbers inside of there. If I'm going to have multiple different things inside of there, there has to be a way to get it out. And we talk about getting out an item at a particular index. So if I say numbers bracket 1, which number is that going to pull out? So the square brackets are there to pull out a particular item out of that list of numbers. And in programming, most programming languages actually start counting at 0. So the first number there is numbers bracket 0, and then numbers bracket 1, numbers bracket 2, numbers bracket 3, and so on. Okay, so if I want to change that 0, that's numbers bracket 1, I could change that to a 13. And now if I print numbers, that has 13 there instead. In Python and many programming languages, there's something called slices. So if you slice a list, you take a particular part of it. If I say 0:2, then that's going to give me the numbers starting at the 0th, so this one here, and going for 2 of them. So it goes like that. Now if I do numbers 0 up to 3, what do you think it's going to give us? That went one further. Okay, so we can give it a starting index, and this is like the range where it stops before that one. If we go over and look at what this looks like in our Play Computer Land, so numbers is a list. We could write it like this. Okay, and then the numbers there are at index 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The last item there is at index 4. Alright, so then if I say that I want numbers, say 2 to 4, that's going to start at index 2, and it's going to go for 2, give us 2 numbers. So, right. So that's starting at index 2, and it's giving us 2 numbers. So these 2 numbers right here, it doesn't go up to the one with index 4, it goes one less, just like range does with for loops. Okay, so we can change numbers inside of there. We can get out ranges of them like this as well. There should be a way to add new numbers, and there's something called Append. And the way that works, the way the append works, is you have the variable name, the name of the list, and then we have a dot, and then append in parentheses. And this looks like I'm running a function, and I am. And when we run a function like this, where the function is operating on a particular variable, that's called a method. So a method is a function that operates on a particular variable. And we can see what methods are available for this with the dir function. If we look in, so we can ignore all these underscore things. There is a append. Append is one of the things we can do with this numbers list. And I'll put in here that dir is a function that is useful when we're just trying things out. So I could also do numbers dot sort, and what do you think that will do? So now the numbers are sorted. I could do numbers dot index, and that says it expected at least one argument. So just like append, I needed to give it something. Let's see if I say numbers dot index 42. So what that did is it looked for 42 in here. It was index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and there are some other methods in there, and you could look them up online. If you want to stay here in the shell, the Python shell, there's a function help numbers dot, let's say, remove, and that gives us a little bit of information about the remove method. And what it looks like here, it says it removes the first occurrence of some particular value. So if I say numbers dot remove, let's say 13, now the 13's not in there. What if I say numbers dot remove 15? It doesn't like that because there is no 15 in there. So we have the help function here as well. Other things we can do with lists, we can test if something's inside of a list with the in keyword, and that gives us a true or false. And what if I say 3 as a string? It's not in there. Okay. Okay, so one other concept that we wanted to get in here, we've talked about all of these, is the idea of a reference. So let's say I have my numbers, and I want to make a new a copy of this numbers called something else, variable. Okay, so variable equals numbers. Whoops. So now if I type variable, and let's say I change that first item to be 15. Okay, so now the question is, the variable's there, it's a list, it has those numbers in there. What if I look at numbers again? So numbers, if you look at that first item, numbers actually changed. It was 1 and now it's 15. And so what really happened is the variable and the numbers, they're really referring to the same data. And the way we would draw that picture here, so this is a list over here. So we have numbers. What that's really looking like is numbers is really referring to some data that's over there. And when I have my new variable called variable, it's referring to the same data. So what we really copied was that they're both referring to the same box in memory. There's some box in memory here where these numbers are. Okay, and the concept there, the programming concept, is that both of these are a reference to this box. Two different names for the same spot in memory. If we want to remove, so we see that we can add to the end of a list, we can change the numbers inside of a list. If we want to remove, we already saw that we could try to call it like that, but let's say numbers.remove 3. There it is. And now what about if I type variable? Okay. And there's so the in here is a keyword. There's a del keyword. If I just want to remove the first thing in variable, then I do it like this. And if I want to remove the second thing in variable, then I do it like this. Okay, so the del keyword there is to remove a particular index. So the first one or the second one. All right, and those are basically the tools that we have available to work with lists. And we definitely need to have lists to do most things that are interesting. So most of programming is dealing with some kind of data, and normally data is more than just one thing. So our list could be students at a university, or items for sale at a store, or pictures in Google Images. Okay, so these are the basic tools. The important